Hey, how you doing tonight? Unplanned, but somebody shot me a text. Said, hey, you might want to check this out, Brian. Some other things happened today. I'll get into that with a Happy Monday video tomorrow. Quite a few things I'll get into, but this was interesting, so I went and I checked it out. Well, as you know, as we know, Sanford retired baby bottle rocket. That's all done. Forget about that 10. Forget about that 10. That ain't ever going to happen. But he retired it. That's why people don't forget about it. Now, I'm telling you officially, forget about it. Nothing's ever going to happen with that. It's retired. It's now in its indoor junkyard museum as a showpiece. You know. His Plan 9 from outer space car, I guess that's retired now too. Well, he was going to get one last run on it to try to get it into an 11. He never came close with that. He couldn't even make a full 8-mile pass without it fucking breaking something and burping and farting and sneezing and falling over on its fucking face. You know. He was going to get another pass on it. I've been working on it all week. This thing is ready to go, ready to go. I'm going to fucking send it. I'm going to turn it loose. And he talks like, he talks about his junk like they're real fucking badass race cars, you know, with his terminology. But then the time came to take it to a track, and after his big claim, he had his pickle sniffers all psyched up all week. Hey, Sanford's taking it this weekend. He's taking, yeah, we're going to see it at the track. The night time comes, my dog's dying. I can't go to the track. I have to be here because my dog's going to die any fucking minute. There's things I'll get into tomorrow. So that never happened. I doubt you'll ever see that at a track again. But you can forget about that claim. Now, you can't touch that. The McHammer Car. I watched the video. He said he's going to retire it. I know that thing's had such a hard life of racing, hasn't it? It's made how many passes down a fucking track? How many did it make at the No-Show Nationals? Three runs. I think he made 2 when it got back into his hands after he threw Al under the fucking bus and blamed him for everything that went wrong with it. You know the way he blamed Blanchard for everything that went wrong with Baby Bottle Rocket? You know? I know a lot of you saw that. He did it on video. Berating him, yelling at him, screaming at him. You know, Lamb Chop, you know, I really like Lamb Chop. He's a good guy. I call him a friend, and I don't call just anybody a friend. People that know me know I don't call just anybody a friend. I have acquaintances, and I have friends. You know, a guy going through cancer, through chemo, his health was not the best. Sanford got him to go to a shop the way he gets people to go to a shop to do things for him, so that way he don't have to work on it himself. When Lammy busted his ass on that car, you know, laying on the fucking ground on gravel on a hot day, Sanford didn't even give him a blanket to put under his fucking back, scraping undercoating off there for a few hours. Save that 12 pounds of weight, you know. Lammy's the one that hooked up the nitrous, the tank, set up the brackets, right? Whoa. You ever swallow your spit wrong? I just did that. Fucking cigarette went up. You know? And, Lammy put a lot into that. The ball busting work. You know, the ball busting work, he got Lammy to do it for him. And then he's going to do Lammy a big favor and let him take it on its maiden pass, you know. They get to the track. And it doesn't. Lammy told me himself, he said, Brian, the way he put that thing together, he says, no, I know how to drive a 4-speed. You know, I drive a 4-speed for on the street, tree racing. But at a track, you know, watching the lights, knowing when to let the clutch fly and timing things says that. I've never raced a 4-speed. It's a lot different than an automatic. You know, the lights come down, and by the way, you don't wait on the green. You watch the ambers. When that last amber starts to dim out, you fucking nail it. By the time the reaction, that engine turns everything through the transmission, drive shaft, the rear end, the rear wheels turn, and the car moves, it's green. You know? Fall asleep at the tree is when you wait on the green. It's when you let it fly, when that last amber lights, and that's where you time it. You time it coming down. When you see that last amber is halfway through the cycle, that's when you fucking nail it. By the time that car launches and breaks the beam, it's green, you know, red light. So he says, you know, with an automatic, it's a little easy to do. With a 4-speed now, it's a little bit different for me. So he wasn't so concerned about, you know, a reaction time and a 60-foot time and shit like that. Just to make a clean pass with it, you know, and shift it out, you know. And it ran a pretty bad time. You know, Sanford yelling and screaming, what's the matter with you? You didn't do the burnout, right? I remember one time fucking Sanford saying, when you do a burnout, or you don't want to drive through the water, and you don't want to really smoke the tires. You just want to spin them a couple of times and clean the tires. You don't want to heat them up. I hate to tell you, but rubber compound, that's the purpose for burnout. That rubber compound will heat up and get sticky. That's when you get the most traction, you know? Or you drive around, I don't know what tracks you've been to. Every time I went to New England Dragway and fucking English Town, you couldn't drive around the fucking water. It was there. You had to drive through the fucking water. Oh no, you want to avoid the water. You don't want to get the tires wet. You don't want to really do a burnout. You know, you just want to spin the tires 3-4 times, get any dirt pebbles off them. That's Mr. fucking Joe Pro Nitro Racer. That's his racing method, you know? You tell me what you think about that. He's openly said this on videos. And, man, he berated and Lammy told me, he said, Brian, the way you put that thing together. Now, like I told you, I'm kind of new to, but usually when I drive in a 4-speed with a clutch, when I go for the clutch in my foot, the fucking pedal's there. He said that thing was so fucking sloppy under there the way he said. The brake pedal was moving around. The clutch next to it was moving, that it would slide up and hit the fucking brake pedal. I'm going for the clutch, and where that clutch was when I went into second, it wasn't there when I went into third anymore, and I'm feeling around my fucking foot. So yeah, I'm late on shifts because it was so fucking sloppy. So the clutch pedal was swinging like a fucking pendulum on a grandfather clock. Oh, well, fix it. Lammy had to be there, and he was under there for a while trying to figure out a way to rig it up to at least get it to stay fucking put. Well, Sanford was fucking yakking and yakking and yakking, not doing a fucking thing. And he's the one that put it in like pig slop. I'm back. Well, wait till tomorrow. Oh, yeah, you wait till a Happy Monday video tomorrow. I got a lot to talk about. Then he goes back out, he runs it again, same thing. And that's when he berated him and, you know. But then when after he kicked Lammy to the curb, when he took it out like a week later or something, he ran the same fucking times. Now he had excuses. Oh, well, the clutch was slipping. When I got up into the power band in third gear, I could feel the clutch slipping and I was losing some of the pull. The RPMs were going up, but I wasn't getting any more forward momentum. Every fucking excuse in the book for himself. You know what I mean? That's how he is. Mr. Excuse Maker with junk. Now this fucking thing. He claims this thing claimed it made 500 horsepower. Claimed it made 500 horsepower. But now, according to the video on this little description, he's going to retire the McHammer Car now too and put that in his indoor junk museum of his Sanford Hot Rod Museum, you know. And before he retires it, he wants to get it into a 7 and 8th mile. Like I've said about, I know, get mad at me all you want. To me, 8th mile is minor league drag racing. Don't come at me, I've heard it all. And I agree. Due to availability, land space, insurance rates, a lot of quarter-mile tracks have gone away. I completely understand that. But there were still some quarter-mile tracks around. Fine. But don't come at me with calculated times, because the calculated time don't mean shit. A lot can happen from the end of an 8th mile to the end of a quarter mile. And I've seen it countless times. I've seen fucking screamers. Half track, 3/4 track, they're starting to nose over, falling out. They're all tacked out, as they say. In a lot of cases, guys put way too much fucking gear. It got up into the power band, and a lot of these engines, they get way up into the power band. If they're kind of sloppy the way they're put together, now besides losing time and losing speed, they're spitting fucking pots. You know what I mean? If you've got a solid lifter cam, bye-bye. Boom. You know, I'm not telling you guys anything new that you already know this yourself. Sanford thinks everyone's a fucking dummy. They'll buy into his excuses and don't see the fact he just puts junk together. And then makes excuses when they run like shit. He's the one that made the big claim. 500 horsepower to 383. Now that car weighs about 3,000 pounds. Probably a little bit less. That thing is gutted. No interior. That thing is gutted. No inner fender wells. No, you know, that car is gutted. 500 horsepower. Said the transmission's pretty stout. Manual valve body's got a 4500 converter in it now. In a 430 gear. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. You know? Well, around like 850, 850. But he had one run. Everything was clicking a little better. And he got it into like an 812. But he knows before he retires it, he wants to get it into a 7. Because then he's going to retire the car. And now he's got a stroker motor that he's going to be building to go in it. Well, I guess he does have a new project. It's going to be in the works coming up. You know. Just gave a little bit of content. As good as Pickle Sniffer's cheering. At least there's some action going on. He's just sitting there at a desk fucking yakking and giving people a fucking lesson on which Chrysler rear end is better than another. You know what I mean? What year they made this transmission versus that transmission. It's totally fucking useless information. But it gives him something to yak about for content. Well, you ain't heard nothing yet. Wait till fucking tomorrow. I got something planned for a happy Monday you're gonna love. It was one fucking excuse after that. And he had a guy there with him. This is the best part. The guy saying, you know, it's making some noise out of the one of the banks on the engine. Sounds like it's kind of sputtering. And from what I could hear, it didn't sound right, that engine. But that engine never sounded right from day one when he built it. That's something he can't lay off on now. He built that fucking engine. And even people that heard it, I heard it myself at that time. I said, there's something funny going on one bank of that engine. Sounds like he's got a valve that's slapping or fucking lifted. It's either tapping or getting hung up. There's something funky going on inside there. That thing don't sound right. And he was blowing smoke out of one of the fucking exhausts. At that time, he had, you know, pipes with cherry bombs, you know, coming out the side. One side was puffing, the other side wasn't. Something was wrong with that engine from fucking day one. You know, Al takes it out, power to erase it. Ran shitty times. Oh, because of Al, because of Al. See that? Al don't even know what the fuck he's doing. He didn't know the carburetors, you know, were flooding out and, you know, they were loading up and he turned the oil into milk. That's when he pulled out a fucking gallon jug. It looked like fucking milk. I've seen engines get gas washed. They don't turn that much fuel into pure white fucking milk. He fucking doctored that just because he threw Al under the bus with that too, if you recall. You know? And Al ruined it. I ruined it. You know, ruined it. The whole engine's trash. He even did a video completely throwing Al under the bus. Now I got to tear the whole thing apart. Then you never see him do anything. You never hear him talk about anything. Then like a few months later, oh, I re-ringed it, you know. I re-ringed the number 6 cylinder and I did this, I did that. But you never saw it apart. And every time he made a video during all that time, you saw it sitting there. The fucking engine was still there, telegram on it, was not out of the car. Nothing had been fucking done to it. He knew there was just an internal issue with it. Because he built that fucking junk engine out of all, you know, his low budget build. You get what you fucking pay for. Let's get real. You get what you fucking pay for. You want to pay shit for junk parts, you end up with fucking junk, you end up with shit. And it's not reliable, not dependable, and it fucking breaks down and you have issues. And he took it out, I think, a couple times previously. It was the converter. It was this. He needed more gear. He had a 410 gear. Oh, I got to put a 430 gear. He had a 3000 converter or 30. Oh, I got to step that up to a 45. He can't seem to dial anything in. And his buddy, fat ass Sandy, with Casper the Not So Friendly Ghost fucking truck, was with Al at the No-Show Nationals. He's supposed to be a big fuck. Him and to another one. His truck's never running right. He can't dial in his Dominators. Can't do this. Can't do that. I got to figure it out. They're there with their fucking one finger scratching their temple, the other thumb up their fucking ass. They can't seem to figure shit out. Sanford can never dial in a fucking car. Well, maybe the time. Maybe this. Everything is maybe. He can't figure anything out. You know, they say some people, at least they learn from their mistakes and they progress. All the shit he does mistakes and it only gets worse. It never gets better when he tries to figure it out and try to make improvements on things. It only takes steps backwards instead of forward. You know? So now this thing's running like fucking crap. And even the guy there was saying, well, you know, I was watching it and there was smoke coming out of one side. You know, and I could hear noise coming out of... All that shit's been there from fucking day one when he finished putting that fucking thing together. Nothing has changed. Al didn't damage anything. Al was handed the keys and the steering wheel to fucking damaged goods. Did he receive damaged goods? It's still fucking damaged. He never rebuilt that engine because Al ruined it. That thing's just the way it fucking was. And it's still a fucking pig. You know? I'm back. Seriously, wait till tomorrow. And And now he's got one fucking excuse after another. But I'm thinking to myself, what he's going to do is milk this and drag it out now. He's going to milk this and drag it out. So it goes into winter. And then, oh, tracks are closed. I can't get it. He has, you notice his timing with things? Puts it off. And he waits till you get like August, September. Track's going to be closing in November, 2 months. And then he'll tell you he did a little bit. And now, oh, I finally got it done. But, oh, man, the tracks are closed for the season. I got to wait till next year. That's his fucking excuse. Like he's always has a fucking excuse. You know? And, he's gonna, once he gets this into a 7s that he plans on doing with this 500 horsepower 383, this car wouldn't survive a quarter-mile run. Baby Border Rocket wouldn't survive a quarter-mile run. Plan 9 from Outer Space wouldn't survive a quarter-mile run. Oh, I might make it through the fucking trap to the timing lights. And that's if they're still running when it gets back to the pits. He's not being told back. He spit out parts. Something's fucked up. Something will be fucked up. He can barely hold them together on a fucking 8-mile pass. That thing won't survive a quarter-mile run. None of his cars will. That's why I got a little issue. I have a hard time. Well, if I can get it into a low 7, it'll be, 11.8 and a quarter. No. Take your calculator time and shove them up your ass. Take them and shove them up your ass. Because he won't get that continuous progression of acceleration and speed that you're gauging and calculating the rest of the quarter-mile based on that 8th mile. Because this thing's going to stop falling over on its face and break down if it even completes the quarter-mile run on the full fucking power. So forget about, I'm sorry. Take calculated times and shove them. I've seen it. I've seen it. Personally. I'm sure you have as well. Those of you that have a few functioning brain cells, unlike Sanford's pickle sniffers, you know? They just believe everything he fucking says. So now, he's going to keep working at it until he's determined. He's determined. I am going to get this into 7s before I retire it. And then I'm going to build another stroker engine. And it's going to be even better. Okay, that's it for today. I just got a text. Someone texted me the link to the video, so I watched it. And I had a pretty good day today. Talked with Dave from DSC Racing. We're on the phone for like, I don't know how far. I'll get into that tomorrow. Until then, have a great night. Have fun and stay safe.